All right, guys. So for today's video, I wanted to go over what I would do if I was able to create my own Destiny 3. Now, the main reason I wanted to make this video was because I've been feeling lately that the only thing that could potentially save the Destiny franchise is a Destiny 3. Now, I say potentially because we know how Bungie operates when it comes to making new Destiny games. It's no secret that D1 and D2 launch was a bit rough. But in the small chance that someone at Bungie sees this, and in an even smaller chance that D3 will actually be made, hopefully this video can help guide some decisions over there. Now, as always, these are my opinions, so there may be some things that I would want in Destiny 3 that you might not, and vice versa. And if that is the case, let me know in the comments what changes you would want to see made. Now, before we get to my wish list for D3, I first just want to say thank you so much for all the support on my last video. I can't believe I broke 1,000 views and gained as many subscribers as I did. So truly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys. That was awesome to see. Now, with that said, let's get into the video. Okay, so what I did in preparation for this video is I was just writing down features and things I would want to see personally in a Destiny 3. These aren't in any particular order of what I would want most to least. These are just things that I was jotting down as I was thinking of them. So this is in no particular order of what I want the most. But the thing I wrote down first is I would like to see a new design of the radar. And what I mean by that is I would like to see like an actual mini map there. And what I think would be really cool is to have a mini map where you can see everything on the mini map, just kind of like how Call of Duty operates, Battlefield, that kind of style. But around the outside of the mini map, you still have your motion tracker so you can see what enemies are near or close or whatever. To me, I think the radar that we have now is just a bit outdated. I do like it, but I think having a little bit more information on hand when you're in the actual game itself is always nice. So I think a better radar would be really cool. And the next thing I said might upset a few of you, but the next thing I wrote down was get rid of Gambit, but replace it with a new extraction mode. I think an extraction game mode in Destiny could be so cool because that could fix that itch of PvE and PvP combined into one while still putting an emphasis on the loot grind. You drop in, you get some loot, whatever loot you get, you extract with it, and that's what you get, you pull out with your inventory. I think that would be really fun. I think it'd be a really good way to maybe introduce new exotics too. Like if you go into hot zone areas in whatever extraction map there is, you have a high chance of looting new exotics for whatever season or whatever DLC we're in. I think there could be a lot of potential with an extraction mode in a Destiny setting. I don't fully know the ins and outs of how you can make an extraction mode work in Destiny. The best thing I can maybe think of is every time you launch an extraction mode activity, you have to purchase a glimmer package that comes with set weapons. So you can't just run in there with your god tier weapons and just mow through everything. And then with each successful extraction, your glimmer packages rise in value and you get better packages to buy later on. The reason I feel like they would need to do packages and not use your own weapons is so you don't have the risk of losing your own weapons and you can keep them. And then these packages is like, if you go in and you die, you didn't really lose anything because you're buying a package to go in there and have like set weapons that aren't going to be your god roll weapons. They're not going to be the meta weapons. There's going to be weapons that are serviceable enough to get you started until you get into the game mode and start looting better weapons and switching out those weapons with the weapons you actually want to extract with. There's a lot of things in the game right now that would support this, like weapon foundries. If you're a fan of Amalon, Tex Mechanica, Suros, Hake, you could maybe have those be the glimmer packages you purchase so you can kind of play into whatever style you typically like to play. They're just not going to be the best weapons. They're just going to be there just to get you started. And that way, if you die with them, you're not really that angry and you didn't really lose any of the weapons that you've been hoarding forever. And I just think an extraction mode in Destiny would go so hard and I would love that. And you know, Bungie could probably do it because Marathon exists, so they have some experience. Even if it's not the greatest experience, they do have some experience. All right, this next one might ruffle a few feathers, but I personally would love to see a BR in Destiny. Lord knows we're not going to get one in Halo, so we might as well get one in Destiny. And I know that a lot of people really are sick of the BR genre, and there's a lot of people out there who just don't even like BRs to begin with. But I think the way Destiny is structured, where you already have common, uncommon, rare, legendary weapons, that you can just already put a lot of those weapons in a BR setting, make some BR adjustments to make the game feel better, use void overshields for shield and tinker with some other things, I think you can make a BR in this game, and you could like just have a ton of maps, big open maps on tons of planets. I think it could be, there's so much potential in the Destiny universe to have a battle royale mode in the game, and personally I would love to see that. I find BRs very replayable. I'm not the biggest arena shooter guy. I like something with a little bit more stakes to it, so for me a BR would be really cool, and that's a feature I would love to see added. Next thing I wrote down was I would love to see new PvP maps added with every expansion. I think it's kind of ridiculous that we really don't get that anymore. I mean, we've gotten 3 new ones in the last like what, 5 years in Destiny 2 right now, and to me that's kind of ridiculous. I really think they need to at least have 1 or 2 PvP maps with every expansion. I mean, I know they've said that PvP maps don't really add anything to Destiny and they cost a lot of money to make and they get no real return for it, and that PvP maps won't solve the PvP issues. In my personal opinion, I think it does solve a lot of the issues, maybe not some of the core issues, but it does solve a lot of the issues. If they were to make a Destiny 3, I think that really needs to be a top priority, that PvP needs to be getting more maps with every expansion, because that's how it used to be in old D2 and back in D1. All right, next thing I wrote down, clan housing. I think clan housing could be so cool. You could make it so dope, customize the clans, add features for whatever your clan mates have done. Like you can like showcase what they've done, have leaderboards in your clan housing, make it accessible from the tower. So you just go up to a door, kind of like how you would with Eris's apartment in the last city. Just have a really dope clan house that you can customize to your liking, like colors, schemes, aesthetics, whatever. I think clan housing could go so hard, and I really would want to see that in a Destiny 3. I think that would just be an amazing addition. All right, the next thing I wrote was ship battles and ship exploration. And what I mean by that is I think if you could pilot your own ship and maybe have a crucible mode where you're in your ship and you're against other players in their ships, or instead of just going to orbit, clicking a planet and going through hyperspace, if you want, you have the option, you could fly through space and go, and maybe there's some like things along the way that you could stop and loot. What I kind of envision when I think of this is like a mixture of like a Star Wars Squadron meets a Starfield meets a Warframe, where I can walk around in my ship, I can pilot my ship to other destinations, and then if I wanted to, you can go and have ship battles with other people, and that could be a whole new crucible mode. I think that would be just so cool, and it'd be really cool to be able to walk inside your ship too. Maybe you can invite your friends to your ship, and instead of you guys just chilling in orbit with all the player emblems, you could actually, whoever's the fire team leader, everyone lands in that ship while you're in orbit. I think that'd be really, really cool, and I would love to see that in a Destiny 3. I think that just expands the experience of you are in space. This is a futuristic sci-fi shooter, and to me that would just be an amazing addition they could add. All right, the next one I wrote down is LFG being able to type a description. I hate the tags. I really want to go back to the way we had it, where you could type what you actually are looking for. And I know Bungie's reasoning is they didn't want people to be toxic when they make a post for LFG, but I mean, we got text chat with censors and stuff, so why not just add that same censorship to LFG posts? So even if that is an issue, it will get censored out. I think having that back would be so much better, because then you could actually be more clear on what kind of posts you're trying to make, because sometimes the taglines Destiny has doesn't always fit what you're trying to actually do. So I think having that feature come back to us would just be a really nice feature. All right, so the next one I had was a redesigned HUD with no limits to buff timers, and you can see your fire team's health and their supers in the bottom right hand of your screen. When I was thinking about this, I was trying to understand why Bungie hasn't made the buff timer just expand to show all your buffs. And the only reason I can think of is they're worried that it will get too cluttered, you wouldn't be able to really see anything, you get overwhelmed. And I think that is true for new players that aren't that familiar with the ins and outs of Destiny. But for more veteran players, I think having an option in settings to turn that dial up so there's no limit on the amount of buffs shown on the screen, that would be amazing, because I can't tell you how annoying it is that we get, I mean, what is it, 4 buffs is the max you can see at one time, where we have like 100 different buffs and debuffs now in this game. So I think it's more of a necessity. I don't understand why Bungie hasn't just added a toggle to expand the buff timers, because most new players that would get overwhelmed probably aren't going into the settings and probably aren't reading and looking for that. And that would just be more of a thing for veteran players. And if we did get Destiny 3, I think that needs to be more of a necessity. And the other thing I talked about, I think just having more information on your HUD at all times, knowing like everyone in your fire team's health and what their supers are at, would just add a lot to the game. It would make trials and competitive play a lot more different, because now you can actually see your teammates' health values. You can see when they're about to get their super. I know you can see at the top of the screen when your teammate actually gets their super, but this way you can actually see when they're about to get their super. And even in high-end PvE activities, you can see if your friend's health is low, so maybe you could look at them. If you have the means to heal them, you actually have information where you always know where your friends are at when it comes to their health. I think that would just be a really good change. When I envision the way it would look, I would kind of think something like what Battlefield does, just move it over to the right-hand side of the screen. And I think that would be a really good addition. Next one I wrote was a wheel of emotes. I won't lie, I'm kind of annoyed that we still have only 4 bounds for emotes. I would love to see something more like what Fortnite does, where you just hold one button and it brings up a scroll wheel where you can select multiple emotes at a single time. And it's not just what you have bound to, if you're on controller, your D-pad, if you're on M&K, your arrow keys. I mean, there's way too many emotes in this game. Eververse is going ballistic, and I think we need something to be able to better function with the ever-growing amount of emotes that we are obtaining and would probably have in a Destiny 3. Because let's face it, if Destiny 3 gets made, Eververse is not going away. That sucker's still going to be cranking out some emotes. So even in a Destiny 3, I feel like that would be a necessity we would need to actually be able to feel like we can utilize all the emotes you accumulate by either paying for them with Bright Dust or with Silver, or getting them from Season Pass or Bright Engrams. This next one is more of just like a personal preference, I would say, is I want us to leave Soul. I feel like we've kind of tapped out Soul. We have kind of explored majority of what this galaxy can offer. And I think if we were to leave Soul and maybe start a brand new everything, brand new story, brand new planets, brand new destinations, brand new everything, I think that'd be really refreshing, just to have a brand new experience and not feel like we're tied down by the same old planets. Don't get me wrong, I love the moon, I love Cosmodrome, I love the planets we have, but I would like to see just new. I want something new. The next one I wrote down, this one goes out to all my D1 guys that played that game. I want SRL to come back. I don't care if it's a permanent stay or if it comes and goes throughout the weeks. I just want SRL back. I think SRL is so amazingly fun and it's so cool, and I miss it so much, and I really wish they'd bring it back. I'm still shocked they haven't brought it back in Destiny 2 yet, but if they were to make a Destiny 3, that for sure needs to come back. Now this next one I wrote down kind of plays into the changes Bungie made with Edge of Fate, and that is the armor archetypes. And what I wrote down is there just needs to be more armor archetypes, one for every single variety. What I would personally do is I would just remove the ghost mod that has the XP bonus, the 12% XP bonus, just make that standard into the game. And what I would do instead is I would add a primary stat tuning and a secondary stat tuning, so that way you can just better fine tune what armor you're really looking for. You'll get your primary to have a higher chance to spec in that stat, your secondary will have a higher chance to spec in that stat, and then you'll get a random tertiary roll. I think that would be what I would do for armor. If Bungie doesn't want to do that for whatever reason, then just make it so there's every single variety of armor archetypes in the game. You know, I've already kind of said how I feel about the armor archetypes in the game right now, so that's a very big change they would need to make if they were to make a Destiny 3. Also, one feature that no one really talks about too much, at least I don't see a lot of people talking about it, is a better private match system. I would love to be able to make some wacky stuff, allow bots to be added, make some cool stuff. And what this segues into is I would love a Forge mode to come to Destiny. I think that would be so sick. Allow the community to make some just dope maps, allow your friends to make some fun game modes, just to make private matches so much fun that it inspires you to actually want to just play private matches. Like majority of the time I play private matches with my friends is we're testing out weapons or builds that we're going to take into trials or comp. That's the only reason we play private matches now. We don't really play for fun anymore because while yes, you can have fun in private matches, there's not a lot of stuff you can do to make private matches just feel really fun. So I would do a better private match system for sure if they were to make a Destiny 3, and there needs to be a Forge mode. Forge mode would go so hard. I mean, we're seeing the effects that the Portal is having on Battlefield 6 right now and how hyped people are getting for that. Everyone who's playing Destiny probably played Halo and they remember Forge mode from Halo. This is something I just think would make the Destiny universe so much better, and I really think they need to add that. All right, and my final thing that I would want to add to a Destiny 3 to make Destiny 3 just amazing is I want to get rid of the stupid power levels. I don't understand why we have them. I really don't. Just make things have a set difficulty and let people use whatever weapons they want to use. Like, there's nothing more annoying than every time we have a new DLC or new season and I want to use a weapon that I've been hoarding in my vault, but I have to remember I have to pull out another weapon from my collections just to infuse it into that weapon, just so it makes it usable. But I would only bring it up to the base level, whatever your guy's at, not the higher level that your power level is currently at. So I think that just really is a crappy system. I would love there to just be no power leveling. Just allow the activities to speak for themselves. If they're good enough activities, we will want to play them. If the loot is a good enough incentive, we will want to keep running those activities. That's what the focus needs to be on, not just a pointless power level grind to keep players on the game grinding for hours on end. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for what I would want in a Destiny 3. There's probably some things I'm forgetting that I would actually want in a Destiny 3, and I'll probably remember them after I post this video because that's just how it goes sometimes. But I feel like, you know, I said it at the beginning of this video that Destiny, to me, in my opinion, is on a downward spiral. And I feel like the only way they could really save themselves is by making a Destiny 3, because speaking for myself, I have an entire vault of God roll weapons. So every time I get a new weapon that is really good, I just don't really feel anything, because it's like, well, is it better than the weapons I have now? I understand, like, you know, it's a tier 4 and it has enhanced barrels and mags, or tier 5 and has enhanced origin trait. Like, I get that, but is it a good enough upgrade over the God rolls I've spent years grinding? And a lot of times it's not. So I think having a complete loot refresh, having everyone start a fresh start, and making these changes that I've spoke about would just make the game feel fresh, feel new. It would make the onboard experience way better for new players, and I think returning players would really appreciate having something new to play and actually have a reason to get excited for when a weapon drops that is really good, rather than just, oh, I got this weapon, it's really good, let me stash it in my vault because it's like maybe a little better than the weapon I already have and I might want to use it later on down the road. Because that's the problem I'm running into a lot. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Again, let me know in the comments anything I could have touched on that I didn't, or anything that you might disagree with me on. I would love to read your opinions, hear your thoughts, and see what you guys are thinking. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Later.